we're going to combine our global outlook with our industry outlook, or at least what we've seen happen across the globe and in our industry, the natural language processing and data set industry. What we're looking at would be NASDAQ hitting new highs. It looks like the market's being propped. Could be. No one really knows for sure. No one's been through this before. But what we do know is that the second shoe has yet to drop. We don't know what that's going to be, but usually it's the case that you have a series of unfortunate events, or at least two shoes that drop, so that everyone can see that we've hit the bottom, or at least know what direction things are going to go in for the long term. Fidelity's chief international boss, Ann Richards, warns of a global corporate solvency crisis. And that's key because Fidelity has about 8.3 trillion under management, assets under management. And so they have their finger on the pulse of the worldwide financial markets, obviously. At the same time, their institutional clients are asking for crypto. So it's a very interesting scenario for them and a beneficial one for us. Now, when you look at what's happening around the globe and you combine it with our industry, there was a recent headline from Science magazine titled "The Pandemic's First Major Research Scandal Erupts Related to Data Provenance." I just added the data provenance section because data provenance is a term that's mentioned in the research paper that was published related to research based on certain drug compounds that are also political lightning rods, but research that was based on data that was incomplete or not traceable, or where the lineage could not be determined, or where it had gone through a series of maybe machines or people handling the data and steps were not tracked. Now, the word provenance was mentioned, and the word provenance relates to being able to track and handle everything and in every way that the data is touched as it moves through a pipeline, as it's created and then moves through into its data set form and then is used to make predictions in a machine learning or artificial intelligence pipeline, or to make predictions related to drug compounds, drug targets. The problem that they found with this drug compound is that if they applied data provenance, they would have tracked this down, but they did not. And now the research is not reliable, and that could mean human lives. It could cost human lives, ultimately. So we're highlighting this piece of news because this is what we do. A lot of people ask, well, why are we leveraging blockchain methods? And this is the exact reason why we leverage blockchain. So that we can track data, so that we can track its lineage, so that we know who's touched it, what kinds of calculations have gone into it from its inception, from whatever machine produced that piece of data, on what date, and how that data was transformed or pre-processed in any way, all the way to its use in a data set, and maybe multiple data sets, or multiple data engineering pipelines, and then maybe who processed it and how it was processed after that. That's all data provenance. If you can create hashes of hashes, you can go ahead and engage in one of the most strict forms of data provenance and data lineage and tracking. And this would resolve issues like this worldwide crisis in research related to a global pandemic. So just wanted to highlight that because that answers that question when people ask why we have a crypto and what we're doing in terms of leveraging blockchain. On the crypto side, in the crypto industry, noteworthy events: Accenture, IBM, Microsoft, NASDAQ, Digital Asset, and more unveil new Token Standards Association. That's very noteworthy. These are a lot of big players. You've got Accenture, Microsoft, IBM, and especially NASDAQ. And that's something that is worth paying attention to. We're also observing that crypto in general is remaining coiled. Most of the savvy traders out there know what that means. And upside, that's one word to describe it. On the engineering side, we are chugging along, and that just means we're doing things brick by brick, as we always mention. We're making progress day by day here, and this relates to delivering customized options and modules to customers so that they can test them out and we can get them out of their trial periods and onboard them as revenue generating customers. One thing that we are doing is we're adding engineers as fast as we can, but not too fast. We are also not adding customers too fast. Timing everything right is very key for us, having everything synchronized in terms of what customers we can support at what time with what engineers and resources available to us. So we can't just simply hire a ton of engineers at this point, even though there are a ton available and we'd like to. It relates to something called Brooks' Law. And Brooks' Law says that while it takes one woman 9 months to make one baby, 9 women can't make a baby in 1 month. So adding engineers to a project in general just won't make it speed up. We're dealing with, like we've mentioned before, one of the most complex pieces of software engineering you can possibly execute. So it's going to take some time, but customers are happy with their trial period so far, and we've got customers ready, lined up for what we're going to classify as consequential revenue. On the product side, we've run into a very unique and powerful opportunity. This relates to a publication called Alpha Week. Alpha Week publishes articles. It's like an industry or a trade publication for the hedge fund industry. And they've invited us to interview. We've done one interview with them already. We've exchanged notes in terms of what kind of article they want to write. And here's what it boils down to. They would like to showcase our ability to create a short basket around 1 or 2 plays. The first play they mentioned is GSX, and GSX is an online educational company. And the second is a company called Works, W-O-R-X is their symbol. Works was involved in a class action lawsuit because they made a claim that they had a COVID-19 test kit, and it turned out, so far it seems like they do not, and it looks like they pre-sold orders. These 2 shorts, where we're going to create short baskets around them, we decided not to go with GSX because it's an ADR, an American Depository Receipt, and we don't do ADRs at this point. So we're going to look at WORX and creating a short basket around that. Greg Winterton is the writer there, and he requested that we create short baskets so that he can showcase them in terms of what he can write about here. And just for the record, he said that he has never seen a system like this, and he is very excited to write about it. And we're going to probably have more than 3 articles written, so it'll be a series. And we'll also include our coronavirus basket. We're calling it the COVID-19 basket at this point. When it was generated, the word COVID-19, the term, did not exist. That's why we called it the coronavirus basket. And we're going to include the performance of that basket in one of these articles written by Alpha Week. And we're going to take that article written by Alpha Week and go ahead and distribute it to all our customers, of course, and it will significantly remove friction from the onboarding process here and enable us to cross the chasm. So this has one interesting note for anyone interested in or that knows anything about or wants to know anything about trading or trading cryptocurrency, that works. WORX, that company, they spiked. If you look their symbol up, you'll see that I think they went from $2 to $7. 1 second, let me find out here. Yeah, they went from $2.16 to $12 in just a day, looks like. And what happened was that they issued unsubstantiated, unmerited news. They issued an unmerited PR related to a product they didn't have, apparently. And people began buying into the company. They began buying the stock. They began buying it at $3 and $4 and $5 and $6 and $7, $8, all the way up to $12. Lots of people. And then it began to drop, as if people were selling into it. And that resulted in a lot of people losing money, at least on paper. And it pissed enough people off that it resulted or triggered a class action lawsuit. This happens all the time in the traditional markets. And it's going to be happening in the crypto markets. And it's something to watch out for. And it's something that if you're involved with a founding team of a crypto, you need to be aware of and protect against, and protect your stakeholders against. So we're very well aware of things like this that can happen, and it just so happens that we're creating a short basket around an event like this, or a special situation. This would be classified as a special situation or an event that you would then create a basket around. So we're updating our databases and data sources and then data sets, and that will include news related to WORX so that we can create a variety of different short baskets and find out which ones perform, and choose the short basket that performs the best, and maybe the short basket that performs the worst, or we will apply some kind of Sortino ratio or Sharpe ratio to it. The person that is writing the article, Greg Winterton, he actually runs a consulting firm, consulting for other asset management companies. His consulting firm is called the Sortino Group, by the way. So that's an interesting factoid that relates to what we do. We'll also provide visualized relationships in this article, and we will talk about our upcoming short baskets and the benefits of utilizing VectorSpace data sets to generate short baskets for the traditionals and for the crypto, and for the crypto markets, and for our crypto. And this is something that we have been looking forward to doing, and that is being able to talk about the traditional markets and what our technologies and data sets and algorithms can do for the traditional markets, but also for the crypto markets. And being able to create a bridge between the traditional market readers and the crypto market readers is what we're doing right now. And that means being able to talk about VectorSpace, VXV, as a trading vehicle here, and being able to talk about smart baskets applied in the crypto markets and in the traditional markets. And maybe a smart basket, or absolutely a smart basket that consists of cryptos and traditionals. So this gives us a chance to talk about the entire crypto market in this series of articles in a very positive light, of course, and of course introduce the hedge fund world to VXV as a trading vehicle, not just to acquire data sets, but to, of course, take a position in as something that their clients or family offices might benefit from. On the internal corporate development side, it's steady as she goes. We've got marketing and PR, not marketing and PR, but sales and marketing happening, and that includes making contact with new signups. And one noteworthy signup that we have had this week has been one of the world's largest advertising agencies, the Publicis Group. They were established in 1926, and they trade at $32 a share in France. And their symbol is PUB, pub, and they're a $7 billion company. They provide marketing, communications, and digital transformation services in North America, Europe, Asia, Pacific, Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East. The company operates as advertising agencies that offer billboard, television, radio, and press advertising services, as well as advertising solutions through digital channels under the Publicis Worldwide, Saatchi & Saatchi, Leo Burnett, Marcel Fallen, and BBM brands, and provides crisis communication, media relations, public affairs, financial communications and strategy, and event management services, as well as digital marketing services. They have signed up for data sets. We will see where that goes, but it's fantastic to have that kind of interest on board. We have signed a memorandum of understanding with LCX. That's good news, related to providing smart baskets of cryptocurrencies. And that's also something that we'll be talking about in our Alpha Week article, with the audience being hedge funds. So things are going to get very interesting for us as we combine these relationships. And steady as she goes in terms of S&P Global, Amazon, and the others. And we are dividing our resources between biggest bang for the buck opportunities here as they arise. As you can see, some of our engineering resources have gone to supporting the Alpha Week article and acquiring new data sources and updating data sources specifically for those kinds of smart baskets. We'll have additional updates related to customers and revenue next week. On the community question side, we've got a few questions from the community. The first one is, when does the team anticipate revenue will cover the burn rate of the company, and how are these costs currently being covered? Well, we're going to let the market provide guidance on the timing of when we'll cross this kind of chasm with revenue. During this time of economic crisis, it's very hard to predict. We are going to just simply have a laser-like focus on bringing revenue in, and revenue that we can, of course, support, and revenue that makes sense. That's all that we can say about that right now. Currently, our costs are being covered by investors that participate on an equity level, and those that participate on a crypto level. The second question, people have different amounts to invest, and this is related to the investment club that we've established here. People have different amounts to invest. Some have 500, others have 5,000. If the club is going to lump everyone together, how are the profits distributed out to each person? The profits will be evenly distributed according to what each one has invested. There's the answer to that. The third question, or this looks like a community member idea. Do a 3-tier investment strategy based on risk, low, medium, high, or investment amounts. For example, 500, 1,000, 10,000, and 2,500, etc. This would be a way to minimize risk for those who are risk averse or skeptical. All right, we've made a note of that. Thank you for that. On to the IR and PR side. Everything hinges on this Alpha Week article. The Alpha Week article will be the cornerstone of our communication to the public related to the financial markets. We will move into talking about the crypto markets, and then, of course, applications across life sciences when it comes to relationships between drug compounds and public companies. Okay. Looks like I had a machine just try to suspend. Give me 1 sec. Okay, so the relationship that we have with the Publicis Group, being France's, I think it's France's largest advertising agency, and its connection to well-known groups like Saatchi and Saatchi. That's going to be an interesting avenue for creating awareness related to VectorSpace and its data sets. So we'll see where that goes. Of course, we have our own advertising agency here in New York, GEM, and as we'd mentioned last week, they are ready to go. In terms of strategy, onboarding is timed to engineering resources, and we touched on that earlier. That's just something that we want to reiterate, and we are balancing that with who we find to hire and what we can do to accommodate them on the team. So on that note, we'd like to welcome aboard all new hires, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to either post them online or you can send them to Tesher on Telegram. Otherwise, I'll see you online. Thanks. Bye.